What you are hearing right now is one of the most iconic sounds in all of Gundam and mecha anime in general. And yet, so far, this is the only Gundam game that I have played where this sound is heard in gameplay. I haven't even begun the top tier list, and already this sound alone can go into S tier. Hello there, I'm K9, and in this video, I'm going to rate every map in Lost War Chronicles according to my own personal top tier list. I will be taking the layout of the maps and the mission objectives into account, as well as comparing both perspectives in the game. To give you a quick overview of the game, Lost War Chronicles is what Journey to Jaburo could have been on the PlayStation 2 if they had a little more time to cook in the oven. In fact, that's actually what it sort of really is. If you never heard or played Journey to Jaburo, I did also make a video for it a while back. The link for it should appear on the top right corner on the screen right now. Anyway, although Encounters in Space is considered to be the direct sequel to Journey to Jaburo, Lost War Chronicles is more like the DLC expansion pack, released in the middle, as both share a lot in common, except Chronicles has improved controls and some quality of life updates. The beam weapons, for example, no longer have ammo, but all rely on heat rates, not counting special weapon attacks, and special weapon attacks actually reload, unlike in Jaburo, where you only had a limited amount of ammo. The downside to this is that although the special weapon attacks do reload, they have less ammo and a slightly longer reload time in most cases. The lock-on for special attacks are also slightly improved, as you can now keep the lock-on active while firing it, whereas before the lock-on would automatically turn off, and you can only fire facing straight ahead. The only downside now is that anything outside of a 45-degree angle will still be missed. What do you expect? It's a Gundam game, so don't expect to have everything you want. If you don't know Japanese, then there's not much of a story this time around, unless you want to follow along with the manga of the same name. But for the sake of this video, we will only focus on the game itself. Anyway, the campaign takes place during the 1-year war, but does not follow Amuro and the White Base's crew, and nor is it a Zeon-centric campaign. Instead, the developers took the tactics battle mode that you unlock in Journey to Jaburo after beating the campaign and expanded on it, and basically realized its full potential. So, if you ever played and enjoyed tactics battle mode, where there were only 3 missions that could be played from either the Federation or Zeon, 5 if we include the missions where you fight against the Blue Destiny and Alex, then Lost War Chronicles is everything you wish Tactics Battle Mode was. This time around, there are 14 missions, and they can all be played from both perspectives. The number of mobile suits have also been increased, 13 for the Federation and 20 for Zeon, and many other mobile suits have different weapons that you can select from, including the loadouts for your 2 squad mates. Your 2 allies in the game can also be pretty useful at times. Up's game also has split-screen 2-player co-op. Now, granted, the co-op is not as in-depth as the campaign, but it's definitely a nice addition. The Versus games obviously had split-screen as well, but those games played a bit differently. I will say, if you ever wished that any of the older gen titles had 2-player co-op, then this was as close as it got at the time. There's also a unique Versus mode, where both players have their own base to defend against each other, which is actually a standout, and I'm surprised it wasn't added into later games. Now, let's finally discuss the levels and missions of Lost War Chronicles. The first map we get to play on is in Canada. This map is used a total of 3 times, Mission 1 for both the Federation and Zeon, and later Mission 5 for the Federation again. The map is in a forested area with a large body of water in the center that unfortunately takes up most of the map, and water in Gundam games is hardly ever fun. It might be best to stick to the edge of the map for the first time you play this game. For the first mission, the objective for the Federation is to basically take out all the enemy suits. For Zeon's perspective, it's also a little similar, only with the addition of having some Medea transport planes that need to be shot down. From my experience playing this game, I would say that Zeon missions are a little more difficult, since the quality of their suits aren't as good as what the Federation has. But it's still not all that difficult, as long as you don't mess up too bad. For Mission 5 of the Federation, the objective is almost the same, but this time with the addition of the Adzam mobile armor that needs to be shot down. Other than that, the map is the same and really doesn't do a lot of convincing that the map deserves to be replayed. Although, I believe the first level or stage of a game should get a slight pass, in most cases, as they are typically meant for tutorials and easing players into the mechanics of the game. The large body of water at the center really hurts this map's rating. The Federation has no marine-type mobile suits, and although Zeon has a handful of them, this being the very first mission means that those water types have yet to be unlocked. There's also no tutorial here. There is one in the main menu, but unless the game has some deep complex mechanics, I don't exactly believe tutorials are all that necessary. Sink or swim, as the saying goes. This map is not horrible, but I can't give it anything more than a C.
But is it, like, you think it's okay? It's clean?
It is acceptable.
In Mission 2 for the Federation and 3 for Xeon, the map is a literal copy and paste from the first Tactics battle mission in Journey to Jaburo. It's a forested area with a small river that passes through the map. The objectives are also mostly the same. Xeon has to destroy a target located on base, while the Federation has to defend it. The difference, however, is that before the targets were these large hangars, while for Lost War Chronicles, the target this time is a big tray armed with large cannons that can really mess up your otherwise perfect score run. I actually had a lot of fun playing on this map back when I was a kid, so I wasn't too bothered to see it get reused for another game. I just would have liked to have seen more of the map be used. The bulk of the fighting takes place towards the back. Having some targets spread out throughout the map could have been a lot more fun. As is, I think it's a solid B.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on!
The Canyon in Asia is one of the most reused maps in the game. It's not exactly a copy and paste from Journey to Jaburo, but it has a lot in common with the third mission in Tactics Battle Mode, where Xeon has to defend a Gal carrier plane, and the Federation has to shoot it down. And those objectives are exactly the same for this game, for the third Federation mission and fourth Xeon mission. In the previous game, the center canyon was a little more than a dug up trench, whereas in Lost War Chronicles, the center actually takes up most of the map. While there are later mobile suits that have a good amount of boost for jumping over large buildings and canyons, this being the third mission in the game means you likely still won't have those suits available. And although I appreciate the developers not wanting to just simply copy and paste the same map from the previous game, I kind of wish they had. Just make the center a little larger and deeper, and it would have been fine. Plus, the original map had colony debris scattered around, which made it visually more interesting. This new version, on the other hand, doesn't have much to look at or appreciate. We then have to return to this map later in Mission 12 for both sides. Mission 12 is more of an extra plus mission, and not exactly canon, as it's actually the episode from 08MS team when they try to capture the Azeroth. I honestly can't give it more than a C.
It is acceptable.
Mission 4 for the Federation and 5 for Xeon takes place in a city in Asia. This is another copy and paste from Journey to Jaburo's second Tactics battle mission, and it's also inspired by the city where the Easy 8 and Gov Custom fight in the anime. There really aren't any objectives here, just shoot at anything that moves basically. Before, you either had to defend or attack the 3 gun tanks on the map, very similar to what the objective was in 08MS team. This actually encouraged you to explore the map a little, as you were required to jump from one side to the other depending on the gun tank positions. In Lost War Chronicles, however, there are no gun tanks unless you select one for your loadout, which could be seen as a positive since now you don't have to worry about defending. But now most of the fighting takes place in the center, leaving little incentive to move around the map, and this actually makes the map feel smaller than it actually is. It's still a fun map, but I think I have to place it in A and not S. Mission 6 for the Federation and Mission 2 for Xeon takes place in the snow-covered Asian mountains, and you thankfully only have to play here once for each side, because not only is it a defense mission for the Federation, but you also have to find the moving defense target in a blizzard with no waypoint marker. Not fun for the first couple of times. And for Xeon, you have to track down the moving target in a blizzard with low visibility. It's really the Federation side that brought this map's rank down for me. To make it even more annoying, the defense target, which is a gem code district type, is extremely squishy and can be destroyed pretty easily. But once you get the hang of it, and know to move along the edge of the map and move fast, you should run into the defense target. Then you just have to escort it or destroy it. For this mission, after the target leaves safely or is destroyed, you can choose to leave yourself or choose to stay behind to take on the remaining enemy suits to get a higher score. A mission with low visibility and no radar or minimap could have been fun if the defense target were removed. Instead, this is D tier.
Disappointed!
Mission 7 for the Federation and 6 for Xeon takes place in the jungle outside of Jaburo. For the Federation, the objective is to take out all the enemy mobile suits while also defending a bunker. While for Xeon, really the only goal is to take out the bunker and the mission will end. That's if you only want to complete the mission as fast as possible though. If you want to get a higher score, then you're going to have to take out all the enemy mobile suits as well. This map is a little more difficult on Zeon's side, and it might be best to pick a marine type mobile suit, since it will give you increased boost and your weapons will reload a bit faster when you're in the water. Unlike in the earlier maps where you can lock down the trees, on this map the trees are stronger than Gundanium alloy and can't be knocked down, and they will block your shots. This was my favorite Jaburo mission in all the PS2 games, until I played Climax UC, especially on the Federation side. Unfortunately, it sort of overstays its welcome by having to be played a second time in Zeon's 7th mission. It's really more of the same, except this time, instead of having to destroy one bunker, there are several targets spread across the map. It's not bad by any means, but doesn't do a lot to feel like its own separate mission. As a result, I think this map is A tier. Mission 8 for the Federation and Zeon takes place underground Jaburo. This is an exact copy of the final mission in Journey to Jaburo story mode. I always felt like this map gave off some early Armored Core vibes with its dark lighting and all. It's not exactly an empty cave, as there are roads and buildings of different sizes scattered around. Visually, it still doesn't look all that bad in 2025. The objective here is the Federation protects a gate and takes out all the enemy suits, while Zeon has to destroy the gate. Although it is a direct copy and paste, I still have to give this map a high score. There's no water to give the Zeon suits a slight combat boost, but it's still manageable with what suits are available at this point. It also makes you feel more a part of the action, as now you're not playing as one of the main characters from the anime, but just some other soldier. I think this is S tier. Mission 9 for the Federation and Zeon takes place in Africa. This is perhaps my favorite mission for the Federation side, while also perhaps being the most annoying mission to play from Zeon's side. For the Federation, it's basically a search and destroy all enemy targets mission. It almost feels like a standard Armored Core or Ace Combat with Max mission, with secondary and primary targets to take out. The map also gives off some 0083 vibes from the episode where the Albion's crew fights off the Zeon remnants in Africa. But for Zeon's perspective, it's a defense mission, and with two primary targets that need to be defended. One of these defense targets is a moving gallop that is a little squishy to enemy fire, and it's not all that close to the second primary target that needs to be defended, requiring a suit that has a lot of boost for you to be able to jump back and forth. If this was only a Federation mission, this would be a S tier, but the Zeon side of this brings it down. Since I would give it a B if it were only a Zeon mission, that means that this map score averages out to an A. Missions 10 and 11 for both sides takes place in California base, so 4 missions in total. Zeon defends the Zanzibar class cruiser loaded up on the masked driver, while the Federation has to destroy it in mission 10. And if you wanted to make a beeline straight for the target on the Federation side, you can end the mission pretty quickly. Once again though, don't expect to get a high score if you do this. And I think this is where we really see the limits of the Zeon mobile suits in this game. Although it is possible to complete the mission with land-based mobile suits, it might be best to use a marine-type mobile suit the first time around. The water area is conveniently located right next to the target that needs to be defended, and so all you need to do is let the enemy mobile suits come to you. Almost like the devs knew Zeon would struggle more on this map, and in order to fix this, they added a small pool of water just at the right spot. Mission 10 is also the end of the game's official story, as missions 11 through 14 are sort of like extra plus missions. Mission 11 is basically a search and destroy mission for both sides. You might also run into the Ifrit and Blue Destiny on this one. Pretty easy for the Federation. And again, for Zeon, it might be best to stay in the water and let the enemy come to you in your marine-type mobile suit. Given the number of enemies you'll need to take out for either side, and most of the map is used when you play on the Federation side, I'd say the California base is a solid A. Mission 13 for both sides takes place in the North Pole base, and it's based off of the War in the Pocket opening scene, where Zeon attempts to destroy the Alex before it goes into space. The mission also takes some liberties, as both the Alex and the Camphor make an appearance on this mission. Again, this mission is easier for the Federation, while the Zeon suits might struggle for the first time around. On the plus side, you do hear some of the music from the anime once the Alex appears. I just can't play it here because of the likelihood the video would get a copyright claim. But there's also not a lot to look at here, as it's all just white snow and sky. But I still kind of like this mission as there are plenty of targets for both sides. Admittedly though, I can't really give it anything more than a B.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah!
The final mission for both sides takes place in Torrington Base, the exact same base from the 0083 anime, where Annabelle Gato steals a GPL-2 armed with a nuclear warhead. The Gundam GPL-1 also makes an appearance here as well. Unfortunately, there is no Albion on the base like there is in the show, and there is no GPL-2 in the game either. Instead, the Zamo takes its place. This is a nighttime mission, and visually, it actually looks pretty good for the time. There are also a fair number of enemies for both sides to fight, which is not a bad thing when there's no defense target to worry about. You can also hear music from the anime playing in the background, which is a really nice addition, but once again, I can't play it in the video. Anyway, I think this is a solid A tier. And that's all the maps and missions for Lost War Chronicles. Honestly, a really fun game, and it's a shame it was never released in the West. All the menus are in English, and there's no need to be able to understand what the characters are saying in Japanese to be able to play through the entire game. As for the story, it should be easy to get a general idea of what's going on if you have a decent knowledge of Gundam's Universal Century. There's also a good amount of replay value, as you can replay any mission at any time and select whatever mobile suit you want. This also means that this top tier list changes depending on what suits you decide to use after unlocking them all. You also have the option to play first person in this game, although it's honestly just that, first person. It's not like the cockpit view from Rise from the Ashes, but the option is there if you want it. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for sticking to the end. If you enjoyed this video, a like or subscription would be greatly appreciated, and I hope to see you in the next video. Mobile Suit K9, signing off.